Okay, we're gonna have a little training video here. I talked about some of these things before, but I thought it'd be good to go back over it. So under Window, there's Doctors. And if you just turn on Object Data, you'll have a doctor here to the side. Now, all these things up here are doctors as well. All the menu bars and everything are doctors, but to have the side doctors is really helpful. And so once you get the doctor over here, you can click on this plus sign, and then you can select which ones you want. The ones that I would recommend are transform and align and distribute. Those are the two main ones, but I'm going to also select this Glyphs one because I thought that there's something I could show you there. And you can try all these and they'll end up showing up. So as I clicked on those, it adds them. There's transform here and align and distribute here. And then you can click off of it and then minimize the last one that I added. And to access them, you just click on them and they pull out, and you can then put them away when you're not using them to give yourself more desk space. So the transform one, again, that's so you can do arrays. So I'll just do a quick array. So say we are going to make a clock. So again, I'm pressing Control and Shift and drawing with my left mouse button a circle. And then say I just want to put, I'm going to start with just the letter A. I didn't do that right. Let's let me start over here. I'm going to click on the A, just click and then type capital A, and then I can make it bigger. And this is just so that we can see how the circular array would work. So I put it right there at the quadrant. And so say we wanted to put numbers all the way around this in a circular array. So you click on the rotate, and that's going to give us a circular array. And then what we're going to do is we're going to click on it until we get that dot in the middle. And then we're going to go grab that dot and pull it down until it's the center of our circle. And then, so if I want 12 and took 360 divided by 12, it's going to give me 30 degrees. So if I want a rotated angle 30 degrees, and remember what I told you about copy. If I told it 12, it's going to end up with 13. So I really only want it to make 11 copies of this. And if I say apply, magically I get them going all the way around. So that's how you can make a circular array, and then you could come in and edit these. And so you could just double click on the letter, press backspace and put B, double click on the letter, backspace and put C, and you could do the same obviously with numbers. So that's how you can quickly make a clock for somebody if you needed to do it. So that's circular array. And then there's, I forget what you call it, linear array, I think. So let's just say we wanted to make a bunch of square boxes. So we'll just make a rectangle, and then you just say, hey, I want to make 4 rows. So I'm going to make 4 copies, and this is our X, and this is our Y. So if I tell it I want it to move 2 inches over in the X and make 4 copies, well, it's going to, I guess that wasn't enough. So let's make it 4 inches over and apply. Well, let me undo it. Let's do my square here and apply. So there we go. Now I ended up with 5 of them because again I made 4 copies. But now say I want to make rows of them. So now I don't put anything in the X and put 2 inches in the Y, and maybe I put 8 copies. Okay, and that went the other way. So if I undo that and I say -2 inches, Y, so then I get the rows down that way. And so that's kind of a quick way to do something like that. So that's what transform is used for, is circular and linear arrays. So any other questions on that, we'll talk about it later. The next one is align and distribute. So this one is if I just had a bunch of shapes and I wanted them all to be at the same height, I could just press T for align them to top. But I could also come over here and there's all these functions here. I could align to the top, then I could align them all to the left, I could align them all to the center, and I have different things that I can align them to. I could put to the selected objects and say align them all to the center. I could say the page edge and align them all to the left of the page. I could do the page center and say align them all to the center of the page, so forth. So, and you can just play around with the different things. What I use this for a lot is I'll have a drawing, maybe like that saw blade that, let me see if I'll just bring it over real quick. So I have this drawing, oops. Say Control C, hopefully this works. My computer's been really slow lately. Apologize for the delay here. I'll say Control V. So now I have it here. And so what I'll do is I'm setting up to cut on a sheet. A lot of times I'll have something that I've drawn in the middle, but I want to get it to the left edge. And, oh, I'm not in the normal thing, I think. Left edge and the bottom. So that's to the page edge. So that's what I'm normally in, is the page edge. So I'll say left and bottom, and that'll put it there. And then maybe I'll have a different one here, and I want it to be at the top and right. And then I'll have a different one here, and I'll put it at the bottom and right. And then I'll have a different one here, and I'll put it at the left and top. And so that's kind of how I quickly throw things on and move them around. Now, the other thing that you can do is say you had some objects that you were trying to space evenly. So say you had these, again, I could select them all and just say T for top. But how do I get them spaced evenly? Well, right here you have all these tools. And this one will distribute space horizontally. And so if I click on that, you'll notice now it's made the space between each one of them even. And you can do it vertically, and there's a whole bunch of different options that you can do and different things that you can play with. But that's the main ones I use, is distribute horizontally and distribute vertically. So like I could have, let's see if I can move this guy and this guy, and then I could go here and I could say, hey, align them all left and right, but how do I get them all evenly spaced top to bottom? And it's this one, distribute space vertically, and it does that for me. So that's the align and distribute. And the only other one that I really wanted to cover on this is this glyph. And the reason I wanted to cover it is I figured out that you could actually come in here and select different alphabets. And I guess you can select them in different fonts. So I'm not sure. I think Arial is going to give you the most results initially. And so I selected Greek. So say you wanted, somebody wanted a bunch of Greek letter things. You can just come in here, grab them, pull them over, and then you get those Greek letters. and you can quickly get them into your design. So that's what glyphs are. And there's more things with glyphs you can do. Let's see, I forget. Oh yeah, up here you have currency, math symbols, marks, numbers, punctuation, symbols, arrows. So let's see if math symbols, they're up here. So you got the greater than, the plus or minus. So those are ones that you could, quickly pop into your document. Now, you can do that a lot of times with the font, but sometimes it's quicker to do it with the glyphs. So, all right, well, that's just all I wanted to cover on that. I hope you have a good evening.